Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
The world is at a critical moment of providing innovative alternatives as a means to create change.
As such, we have created a not-for-profit alternative mobile digital platform as a way to promote space for freedom of speech and expression to the unheard voices.
We know you believe in the cause and you can further it more by contributing to its sustainability in forms of internet data, fuel, and any other support you deem relevant.
Please support us with your contribution to Equity Bank account number 103-5201-607252 under the name Alternative Digital, or our mobile money numbers 0702-900076 or 0783-047785. Alternative Digital, real issues, real talk.
You have got to get up pretty early, go do something. We are the Alternative Dig Talk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
We President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima kawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 weyanema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative Digital etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugendo maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Dig Talk.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Nyongera kwetonda bamekwano olwa technical problem eyo eriwo saawa zino ebyo muzungu yadde byechanzemu naye nga wetuli okubanga tubaweereza the voltage ye program jemola abatutambulira ddala paka saawa 3 ez'ekiro ky'olunaku luno olwaleero amanya nze Mayanja Luwedde Lilian era nga mbaniriza nnyo nyini ddala tugenda kuba tutambulira ddala paka saawa 3 era nga mu studios tuina omwami Kyaguba Rpbert Katongole, tuina omwami Robert Mayanja awamu n'omugenyi waffe ku show y'olunaku luno olwaleero Honorable Mornah okuva mu ggwanga erya Uganda era ng'ava mu kibiina ekya PNC MC tugenda kuba naye mu studios nga mikwano nsooka okwetunda tugenda kuba tukozesa olulimi oluzungu mu show yaffe ey'olunaku luno olwali tugenda kuba tutambulira ku lulimi luzungu naye nga tugenda kuba twogera ku bintu bingi nnyo so temusaanidde kubeera nga musubwa mala njagala badikuza nti mukwano gwange gwa alabye show eno ng'etandika njagala otegeeze n'omulala ategeeze omulala nti The Voltage show etandise era nga twatandise era tugenda kuba nga tutambula paka ssaawa 3 ez'ekiro ky'olunaku luno olwaliro naye nga mbaniriza era mwebale nnyo mwebalye ddala mwe abalabi byaffe ababeerako ne mulayikinga ne musharinga ne mukomentinga mukola omulimu gw'amaanyi ate era mukola omulimu gwa ttendo nnyo nnyini ddala thank you very much abalabi byaffe mu ggwanga Uganda abatulabira mu ggwanga Uganda abatulabira emitala wa Mayanja bamikwano mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala tugenda maaso era nga nyongera okutwala omukisa guno okwebaza abantu mwenna abasobola okubeera nga mujja ku book launch ya Professor Wilson Kanyihamba mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala abasobola okujja abagula tickets abagula obutabo bamikwano mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala mwawesa omukolo ekitiibwa ate era to the entire management ya The Alternative Digital thank you very much mwakola omulimu gwa ttendo omukolo gwali gw'amaanyi nnyo nnyini ddala era nga mwawesa omukolo ekitiibwa production yali mulungi nnyo na buli kimu ekyakolebwa achali kirungi ate ng'era kitukagana n'omutiro naye nga mbaniriza you are welcome on the show. My name is Princess Luwedde Lilian. In studios we have Mr. Robert Mayanja, independent mind. Yes, we have Mr. Robert Katongole Kyaguba from the ruling party, that's National Resistance Movement, as well as Honorable Mornah from Ghana. Yes, he's going to be joining us in the studio today. So welcome on this show. This is The Voltage. Remember, this show airs every Monday and Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our guests today, our panelists today on the show. And I'm going to be starting with Mr. Robert Mayanja. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm always grateful to be hosted and The Voltage every other day like today. I want to thank you so much for hosting us. I want to thank the technical crew that make sure that everything is set. I am humbled to be here.
That is Mr. Robert Mayanja for you. Let me go straight to Mr. Robert Kyaguba Katongole. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Lilian. Robert Kyaguba Katongole is my name. All the viewers out there, those who are watching within Uganda and those outside Uganda, you're most welcome. Just seek family, watch, advise where necessary, and we discuss issues that pertain, that concerns our government, the development and the economy of our country and the politics at large. Thank you very much, most welcome.
That has been Mr. Robert Katongole for you. On my left-hand side, we have Honorable Mornah from Ghana. Let me take this opportunity to welcome him on the show. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Say hello to our viewers, to our Voltage viewers.
Hello. Not that I've been asked to say hello, so I say hello to all of you. And, I'm glad to be on your show. I'm glad to be here with my co-panelists. I hope I can contribute meaningfully to the discussions at stake, particularly on the continent's development, to see how we can improve the young people's understanding of the dynamics that confront us in our continent and in Uganda in particular.
You're most welcome. Since you're new on the show, at least give our viewers a brief background about you.
What should I say that you don't know?
Our viewers don't know a lot.
And so you should tell your viewers. Well, I come from Ghana. I am a farmer, but I do politics. And so many people know me by my political activities, but not in my farm work. I schooled both in Ghana and in Germany. I did my master's in Germany, that is precisely the University of Applied Sciences in Berlin. I did my first degree in the University of Campus. I was born to a poor peasant family. My father was actually a watchman, and we did not have a place to stay, so we eventually had to put up some wretched compound living. we survived on leftover food that was given to hospital mates, that's the sick people. The leftover was returned, and then at the kitchen it was given to us to survive. I went through walking 16 kilometers every day to school and back. Somehow I passed my exams to senior high school, and then I went to the university. My father died, so I became the breadwinner for the family, so I had to take care of my other siblings. Fortunately, God blessed us because one is a professor now in the United States of America.
Oh, that's good.
One is a medical doctor in Ghana. The lady is currently doing her PhD in Canada. And our last born, he is into transport management. So I came from a very poor home, but I have seen the suffering of our people. And I have gone through suffering myself. Poverty is not defined by what I have taught. I have experienced poverty. I know what it is to go to bed without food in your stomach. I know what it is to get up without sandals to go to school. I know what it is to go to school without a bag and walking 16 kilometers, sometimes in the rain and sometimes in the scorching sun. And so I have gone through these difficulties. And that is why I have dedicated my life in struggle for the many underprivileged in our society, that we can make their lives better. And so if you see my activism, struggling for people's emancipation, if you read a little about me, you'll see that I was in the Gambia, joined with the young people to struggle for Yahya Jammeh to leave the scene. I was in Burkina Faso. I am currently struggling with the people of Togo to see that the dynasty that has been imposed by the Iyadima family or the Nyasingbe family is torpedoed, because 33 years of Nyasingbe Iyadima, he dies on the throne, his son takes over, and he's 17 years on the throne as president. Presidency is not an inheritance. If you go to Cameroon, you will see what Paul Biya is doing, virtually wiping out full communities because they disagree with him. And this is a president who doesn't stay. I cannot stand injustice. In fact, I cringe at injustice anywhere. And that is why...
Not only in your country,
not
but
only anywhere,
in other
everywhere. I have been in Kenya at a period when we had to struggle. We did a lot of activism in Kamakunji with the youth agenda. And so my life has been that, to struggle with colleagues to see how we'll be able to transform the African continent for a better cause. And so, briefly, yes, my full time is farming, but I do politics, I do activism not only in my country, and even as I'm in Uganda tomorrow, I'll be doing some conference in Harare, Zimbabwe, talking about youth participation in the political equation. Don't forget that for several years, Robert Mugabe had held the fort. And they did what you can call a palace coup to take away from Robert Mugabe and to hand it over to themselves. They have not changed the trend. Young people continue to suffer. And as I walked around Kampala, as I came from Entebbe, I can see, just as in every other city, that most of our young people are carrying goods in one way or the other, which I did, carrying water. And they will run after every car that passes to sell one bottle of water, a sachet of water. And you can just imagine how much that is. That is what they have to use to take care of themselves, take care of their kids, and probably take care of a home. It tells you the levels of disappointment and despondence that we go through as African youth. And we can't not just keep quiet. That is why some of us are out there in struggle. And I think that we will succeed. There's no doubt that we will succeed in our struggle.
True, you will succeed. How is politics in Ghana? When you look at politics,
well, we are privileged because we have suffered some military regimes. In 1966, the Kwame Nkrumah regime, the first president of Ghana, was overthrown. And in 1969, The military themselves agreed to step down, and then we did an election. But in 1972, there was another military regime. In 1975, the military itself overthrew their own. And again, in 1979, J.J. Rawlings overthrew the military regime, but handed over to the civilian president, President Lehman. But J.J. Rawlings came back on 31st December 1981, exactly 27 months after he had handed over and overthrew the government that he handed over to. And from 1982 until 1992, we did not have any other leader aside President Rawlings. By 1992, we, the people of Ghana, had led massive struggles, demonstrations, so much that Rawlings agreed to restore the country to constitutional order with term limits. So we had 4-year, 2-term limits. So Rawlings contested 1992 and won the elections. He contested 1996 and won elections. And in the year 2000, he had finished his 2 terms and therefore he could not go. He handed over, of course he appointed somebody from his political party to run with the opposition party. When the results came, the opposition won the elections. He still handed over. So President Kufuor came in as the first democratically changed over president. Then in the year 2008, another 8 years after President Kufuor, there was another election. And then this time, President Atta Mills won. President Atta Mills did not complete his term as president. Just in his last term of the 4th year, he died. And his vice president took over and also won the subsequent elections. But in the following elections, the vice president who became president lost the main elections to our current president, who is now in his 2nd term. So you can say that in terms of democratic consistency, from 1992 to date, Ghana has successfully changed from one political party to the other, at least within 8-year cycles, and we have been able to do this consistently. And that is why, even when we disagree with Rawlings for the many atrocities that he might have committed, we praise him for the fact that he acquiesced to democracy in 1992, and when he had every clout, the military was at his side, the police was at his side, he had still the charisma to be able to compel Parliament with his numbers to change. Rawlings did not change the term limit. He allowed the term limit to stay. He stepped down. Several presidents came in. He went for their inaugurations until he died recently. Again, if you move to Nigeria, when Obasanjo wanted to change the term limit after his 2 terms, it was his vice president, Atiku Abubakar, who stood up and said, even as I am your vice president, I also have an eye on the presidency. You have done your democratically term of 2 periods, so you should step aside. And there was a tussle. He removed Atiku Abubakar as his vice president, but the parliament rejected the president's call for extension of term. Take note, the parliament was courageous to reject the term limit. I don't know about Uganda, whether your parliament has the same balls to have rejected the attempt to extend the term limit. Of course, they didn't have the ball, so they extended the term limit and subsequently even extended the age limit. But in Nigeria, of all countries, it was rejected. Of course, Atiku did not become president. He was not anointed by Obasanjo. Yar'Adua was anointed. But you see, it has given way and galvanized multi-party democratism in Nigeria. And of course, if you come back home here and you see Magufuli, for all that he did, and his 2nd term, he won the elections by landslide 84%. The parliament and everybody agitated that given the kind of leadership he's offering, not only to the people of Tanzania, but to the whole of the African continent, they wanted to extend his term. He single-handedly said no. If his predecessor had extended a term, he would not have become president. He declined that temptation. Of course, God was not on our side as a continent, not on his side, but our side. Magufuli died. But assuming he had acquiesced to the extermination of the term limit and he died, it means that the vice president could have continued ad infinitum in office. So you don't pass laws because of an individual, but you pass laws because of the continuation of a democratic order. And I think that if you want to talk on the trajectory of how far Ghana has come, I can tell you that democratic transition has taken place. Of course, we have had bad leaders even within the democratic transition. But because we know that there is opportunity to change them, we are not so much perturbed. We can accommodate your nuances for a number of years, 4 years, and then we can kick your ass and let you go.
You kick them out and then...
Yeah, then you bring in another person. If you are not doing well, we kick you out. So when there is opportunity for democratic transition, you will see that political upheaval is subsided. Of course, I can tell you that the governance that we have in our country, I'm not a fan of it. I am very agitated by the kind of administration that President Akufo-Addo is running. And I've been a vociferous critic of his administration. Everybody, if you go right now to check on any of your search engines, you will see how vocal I've been, attacking various policy options, including the Chinanization of our continent and Ghana. Chinese are now taking large tracts of land and they are into agriculture. If we allow the Asianization or Chinanization of our agriculture, what else will we have? Because largely African countries are agrarian society. And now our government cannot even support us to cultivate food to eat. So what else are we going to do? So I have been a very vociferous challenger of some of the policy options that we are putting off as a nation. But I think that, of course, there is opportunity to transit from one political party or one government to another. And so, yes, we are doing well in terms of democratic transition. We may not be doing well with the kind of leaders we select, because you do know that politics is not just about the brilliant ideas. It has to do with euphoria and sometimes outright deception. If you get up and say that your opponents have HIV/AIDS, your opponent has a corona, before your opponent can come and say that it is not true, that message would have gone to places that is difficult to come and erase. And this kind of propaganda has pervaded in our political system, and sometimes the best is not elected. That notwithstanding, there is opportunity to change in our country.
Okay, that is Honorable Bernard Mornah, all the way from Ghana. We're going
more to continental experiences. I want to welcome you to Uganda.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for being a very rare young African man. This is my first time to see you, but your works are bigger than you are. I am really humbled to share this panel with you. Princess Luwedde, you know my opinion about Kadaga, Ulanya, and the entire NRM establishment. Really, in this debate, I don't know what to say. Because if I say, okay, Kadaga is right, I'll be an idiot. If I say that the NRM has something to tell us about Kadaga, I'll be mixing. Nakugamba ko dawa nonti. Sitera nnyo kwagala kwetaba mu debate z'abasezi nga bateesa okulya omulambo gwabwe. I have no business entirely. But as a Ugandan, I think we are missing a point here. President Museveni is known for being the inventor of crisis and the solution to that very crisis. And he's enjoying this drama. Trust me as the final card on this. When the time suits himself alone, will come in and diffuses this tension. He has done this quite several times, so it's the same script that he's going to use. And Kadaga is also sending a very, very, very wrong signal, most especially to the women, because I was some time back on the streets, and I had these ladies selling newspapers on the street, very excited how Kadaga is becoming very strong, how Kadaga is standing up against all the men, and how she has earned the support of all the women in parliament. I said, look at these people. So Kadaga knows. Kadaga is a member of the NRM. She's in a ruling party. She's actually number 3. She's a member of the Central Executive Committee. She knows the rule of the game. Now,
so she just has to be
from an outsider's point of view, this entire bunch of NRM guys are giving us a diversionary game. They want us to look at petty things, yet there are big things that are happening. At the end of the day, I know Kadaga is either going to humble out or is going to settle into the compromised negotiation by the chairman of the NRM. None of them can survive there minus their chairman. That's a fact. And then two, you've heard what my brother was talking about parliament. That in other countries, parliament can be. I don't see that in Kadaga's parliament or any other parliament of under the NRM. Of course, we can talk about those who tried to go into those zones, but they were not yet there. They died. So Kadaga has nothing new to offer us after her term. So is Olanyi. We must remind ourselves that from the inception, the NRM has never had the interest of Ugandans, much as they propagate it as we are acting on behalf of the people of Uganda. It's not the case. So, at the apex, at the pinnacle of this conflict, the chairman is going to pull the strings. Both puppets are going to go crawling. The man high on the big throne will make his wish, and the dogs will dance. They'll dance. And that will be it, and that will be that.
Okay, let me go straight to Mr. Kyaguba Katongole. Given the fact that you're representing the ruling party, that's the National Resistance Movement, and we are talking about Honorable Rebecca Kadaga as well as Honorable Jacob Olanya, they're all coming from NRM. What's your take on this? I mean, what picture are they painting? What picture are they showing to the public?
I thank you, Princess, for that question. But first of all, I would like to welcome my brother here. That welcome to Uganda, the part of Africa, a peaceful country whereby you find a law which is working, and they abolished the red belt on your head because it's used only by military police in Uganda. But for you being that you are visitor here, I welcome you. But by the time we get out of here, you would have known that those belts are only used by military police of this country. However, putting that aside,
at least not with my
putting that aside, our country is so peaceful and democratic. That's why we exercise all duties. The parliament is working, the executive is working, that's the legislature and others. I so congratulate your country. I think it also does the same like our Uganda, because democracy is everywhere and we exercise the same democracy. The democracy that we have here is the same democracy that Americans have, and the same democracy that is in Uganda and even in Tanzania. However, we only have different leadership, and the different leadership we all use different panel. The different I think is called a constitution. The constitution that binds Ugandans is different from that binds Kenyans, is different from that binds Tanzanians and even other countries. So for us, we follow our constitution that was made by our justices of Uganda in consultation with other the soul and difference of other countries, whereby Mwalimu Julius Nyerere was around, whereby Kwame Nkrumah was there by the time I think when formulating our constitution. So they had advices they were giving when they are putting in this. Now, coming back to my country, whereby I have a stake. This Parliament of Uganda, as we said earlier on, we may think that they are working for the development of our country when they are deliberating, when they are giving ideas, when they are discussing issues that concerns the development of our country. If someone diverts from the norm or from the truth of that would be the parliament of this country, and then think that is going to take the parliament into someone's home, or taking the parliament into her or his home to discuss issues that concerns the whole nation, then that wouldn't be good.
I beg to
There,
is it the president calling parliament his house in the state house, or Kadaga taking it to her gallery in Sas?
I was coming to my point, because we're having two now heads that are fighting to retain their positions, the speaker and her deputy. Now, the one who think that this is my home and I don't want to change is wrong. And if you say that I'm the chairperson of the Eastern region in the ruling party, whereby they have a hand in who is going to be what in this parliament, I think that's also wrong, because you know very well that if you take an oath that you're going to support a party and they give you the leadership, you have also to adore, you have also to know what you are following, not to be like the Barnabas Tinkasimiles and the others whom we say that they are rebel MPs. Yes, the Sorry Sechukubos, whom we termed as rebel MPs by then, and then the speaker said, please you come back and occupy different seats, not whereby not those seats that you've been using by the time you were called the rebel MPs. But this time round now, we would like to see Madam Kadaga. However, she has done good, and I don't think that what she's doing is bad to contest on the side, because we also need ladies in some positions, because this was brought by President Museveni, that we are bringing democracy, we are bringing ladies out behind the kitchen. Now they are coming on the table, they are getting points at the universities, they are studying very well, they are going to big office, they're holding bigger offices.
They're holding bigger
Now, if the speaker says that I'm coming back for the third term, I think she has not done bad or a wrong thing. But we need to look at our framework that governs NRM. What do you believe in as NRM cadre? Are we saying that you're going to take that as your house? Because we have people whom we think that they are our elders, the likes of Moses Chigongo, the likes of His Excellency the President, the likes of there are many. So if they are advisors, if they say we are advising you to as we discussed earlier on, that you be the deputy, and then someone says that you're going to be the vice president of this country, and for you say, no, I don't want to be the deputy of anybody. Really, I'm seeing a conflict of interest there, because you already know you're in NRM party, which NRM party are there to discuss, to understand, to where that NRM party that you're leaning to, you are the, because me Kyaguba, I can say I'm leaning to NRM. But Mrs. Kadaga is in NRM. She's actually, I would say that she's NRM. So she could say, please, let me respect my chairperson. I respect the decision of the chairperson and the caucus. I take what they have decided, but not being there and say, no, if they decide the other way, I will not accept. Really, I think that's doing bad, and that is a conflict of interest, that you're taking your side, not the side that's decided by the party that you attached to. So I'll say that Right Honorable Kadaga, if the caucus says, please, you take this path, I think that will be better to streamline our country than saying, no, I can't be a vice president to the president of the country, yet you are the vice chairperson of the same president, because the chairperson of the party. So if you say I can't be the vice of someone, then that means that you're using a different language that we don't use in our part of NRM. So I'm a young person in the NRM, but You know where NRM came from. You need to be resistant. However, you have to accept that the chairperson is there and take what the chairperson says. And even the caucus, if they decide, please go with the decision of the caucus. We shall also follow you if you take the right path as the caucus decides.
Okay, let me go straight to Honorable Bernard Mornah. Since he has been following what has been going on in our country, I'd like also to pose this question to him. What's your take on Madam Speaker's decision? Before that, let me correct a few impressions put up by, is it Katongole? Katongole. Okay. One, Kwame Nkrumah died in 1972. I was not even born. By looking at your face and my face, I guess I'm older than you. And so Kwame Nkrumah would not have been there when the Constitution of Uganda was being promulgated. Number two, any constitution that can be transmogrified just at the call of a president will tell you that that constitution and its life is wobbly. That it took the president to say, yes, I call for term limit, the constitution has term limit, parliament do the duty. And because the president's party has majority, they go and change it. And I saw the fight in parliament. It was severe fight. Fortunately, I was in Ghana, but I was watching the kind of debate that characterized the change of term limits in Uganda. Soldiers had to even be moved into the house, particularly when it has to do with the issue of age limit, to ensure that the president's decision to want to continue in office is enforced. Even as the Constitution says that it should not be, it means that there is a major problem with the sustenance of the Constitution. And that is where we have a problem. And you see, some of these infighting that are going on within your own political party are testament to the fact that once you have a president and you are under the president, you are a nobody. Otherwise, who would run away from the position of a vice president? Especially with the developments in Tanzania. Especially so when the vice president is number 2. The Speaker of Parliament is number 3. The Chief Justice comes in as number 4. So in terms of hierarchy of government, everybody will be excited to want to occupy the number 2 position. After all, if Yoweri Museveni decides to go to Ghana today, you, the vice president, has the opportunity to act as president even for a day. It goes to your credit. So there will be motivation for you. But see, you have somebody at the top who is unbending, who is not willing to play to the rules. And therefore, even those who are working within know that, no, I should not be closer because I may suffer some incarcerations that I don't want. And that is the reason why there is this conflict. Otherwise, I don't think that the issue of speakership should even get back the way it is going. To the best of my knowledge, speakership is a decision of the members of parliament who determine who should become a speaker. And therefore, they go ahead as parliament to determine and vote. In Ghana, and I can cite 2 examples for you. In the year 2005, there was a change in government. The same party had appointed a Speaker of Parliament called Peter Alajete. Now, the president and the party did not think that he had worked in the interest of their party because they saw him doing rulings and conducting the House in a nationalistic manner. So they decided, as a ruling party, to introduce another person as Speaker to the House. The opposition went back for the same person that was Speaker of Parliament and said that, no, this Speaker has distinguished himself in the House of Parliament. So we, opposition, think that he should continue. They came to Parliament, of course, and that's where you see the bizarreness of our Parliament. Even in Parliament, there was overvoting in the year 2005. So the overvoting enabled the president's choice to win, even as against the former Speaker of Parliament. Okay, again, in the recent Parliament that we just concluded on the 7th of January, you know that our Parliament is almost in equal number. You have what I call the major political party, 137. The minority political party also has 137. And with an independent candidate in the House. So what that means is that the House of Parliament was sharply divided.
So when it came to who should become, and in our instance, before you swear in the president, a speaker is elected. Because the speaker, it is in the House of Parliament that the president will have to be inaugurated. Wherever it is done, you can do it outside, but it's considered parliament. So in this instance, the opposition introduced somebody as against the ruling party's person. And when the voting was done, the opposition candidate became speaker. Take note. Members of the ruling party in parliament chose that the person that the party has presented, his credential, his integrity could not match with the person from the opposition. So some members of the opposition actually voted from the ruling party, voted for. So as we have in Ghana parliament now, the speaker of parliament is not of the ruling party. Because the speaker comes from the opposition. Take note, he is the third in command of the nation. So if the president is not around, the vice president is not around, he takes control of the Ghana Armed Forces. He becomes the commander-in-chief. He is responsible for security. He can do everything within the time that the president and the vice president are not in. Yet, we have an opposition person as Speaker of Parliament. This is how you mature democracy. That somebody from the other end can actually occupy a position like in this instance, it's not even opposition versus ruling party candidate. It is the same ruling party. Now, if the Speaker of Parliament says that I don't want to become an assistant to anybody, what does that mean? It goes to reinforce my position that Museveni is an unbelievable character in the running of administration. Because this is third in command in the leadership of this country. Who comes to say that, no, I prefer to be third in command than to be second in command? Because I fear to be closer to the president. Why? Why?
So they say that she has her own intentions.
You understand? So there is a danger. And that is why I say that even the people who work with you wearing Museveni, even in chieftaincy, if your father is a king, there is the possibility that kingship can come to you. So the people who are working with Museveni, just as in every other institutions, also aspire that they will get to the top. Now his continuous stay in office is depriving them of that opportunity. And so they continue to be hangers on, waiting for an opportunity so they can slide in. And that is what we are seeing as an infighting. I have met Olanya. Fortunately, I came here at the instance of Professor Kanyehamba. I've seen that in the previous launch of book. It was Kadaga that was the guest of honor. In this particular instance, when he launched this book on the evolution of constitutional law, public law, and then government, it was Olanya that came to do it. So I don't know how the politics play, but I think that to all intents and purposes, if indeed there was a meeting of this nature involving Olanya, Kadaga, and the Secretary General with the President, and Kadaga comes out to say, I don't want to be second to Yoweri Museveni, it means that he has slapped Yoweri Museveni in the face, a stab in his back. And I think that if there is party discipline, this is where the party machinery should take up the matter. I'm not excited about what it is, but I think that these infightings go to the bottom of the issue, that democracy is only shambolic. It's not well entrenched. And the more we continue to dilly-dally, to pussyfooty with democracy and things that we are practicing, if you pretend about something, the system will pretend about you. So in this instance, it appears that we are pretending that we are running a democratic order, when indeed it appears to be a dictatorship.
Yeah, I would also like to pose this question to you. What's the role of political parties in African politics?
Well, if you take constitution by constitution, in our constitution, Article 55 will tell you that a political party has a duty to bring about alternative economic and social policies to lead to the growth of an economy. And that is why I'm sure all political parties, including NUP, the NRM, and others, they come out with manifestos telling the people what they want to do. And therefore, political parties have a significant role to play. Now, in doing so, we must come out with policy options. I am disappointed in my country because, see, I speak English. It is somebody's language that I have been forced to learn and to use that to communicate. Now, maybe we should do a little exercise here. When I went to school, I did a bit of science, basic science. And I was told that matter is anything that occupies space and has weight. Now, how do you say that to our grandmother who doesn't speak English in our local language? How will our grandparents, maybe you should start with me. How do you say anything that has space or occupies space and has weight? It's called matter, and that we have three forms of matter: solid, liquid, gas. How do you say that in our various local languages? Or our languages, not local languages. How do you say that in our languages? So we go to memorize something that we cannot relate on the ground. Now, because we cannot relate, is it any wonder that you see people go to universities and say they are mechanical engineers and they are driving their car and the car breaks down, then they go to look for somebody who has never been to any classroom to study mechanical engineer to come and fix the problem for them? Because we have studied theories, we have studied things that we cannot relate domestically. And that is one of the banes of Africa's development. If you go to any other continent or any other part of the world, the Germans will not use French or English to study. The French will not English or Deutsch to study. The Chinese will not use your language to study. So they internalize and appreciate anything and everything they are taught. Now, in my country, we don't study in our languages. Indeed, you are shipped in school. If you are found speaking your dialect to another, they tell you are speaking vernacular. My language of birth and origin becomes a vernacular, but a foreign language is not a vernacular, and that is what I have to learn. When we come here, I'm not sure that there is any official language apart from English. You understand? It's now that I'm hearing that you are introducing Swahili and maybe some other languages. So if you go to all the countries in Africa, maybe Kenya, they are doing well, South Africa, they are doing well, but to what extent are we internalizing our means of... So we are virtually consumers and not producers. So we consume, you internalize something you don't understand. And so that is one of the major events. So I'm looking forward to political parties that will come and say enough. And I thought I was going to get excited with Paul Kagame for what you are having problems with French. And so because France has an issue with you, you decide to divorce or severe ties with France. And you say, okay, we are no more going to use French as an official language. Instead of choosing your indigenous language, you go and take English as your official language. Who are you trying to please? Because English is also a colonial relic. And so if you are moving away from the colonial tag and you want to yank yourself out of colonialism, don't go and take another colonial subject, which is English. So I was hoping that some countries will set impression, maybe. I'm not sure for the several years we have been able to transform, but everything has a gradual process. We are starting gradually, and I think that we should be able to put the frontiers there. That is what political parties should do. Bring out policies that ensure that our people consume the message that we want to give. Now, let me point out some, even though it was not said here. Olanya said something at the book launch.
Let's go in for a very good commercial break. When we return, you're going to point out all those issues that you're going to point out in our second hour. Let's go in for a very good commercial
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
The world is at a critical moment of providing innovative alternatives as a means to create change.
As such, we have created a not-for-profit alternative mobile digital platform as a way to promote space for freedom of speech and expression to the unheard voices.
We know you believe in the cause, and you can further it more by contributing to its sustainability in forms of internet data, fuel, and any other support you deem relevant.
Please support us with your contribution to Equity Bank account number 103-5201-607252 under the name Alternative Digital, or our mobile money numbers 0702 900076 or 0783 047785. Alternative Digital, real issues, real talk.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Digital. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyannema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative Digital etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugende mu maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Digital.
The world is at a critical moment of providing innovative alternatives as a means to create change.
As such, we have created a not-for-profit alternative mobile digital platform as a way to promote space for freedom of speech and expression to the unheard voices.
We know you believe in the cause and you can further it more by contributing to its sustainability in forms of internet data, fuel, and any other support you deem relevant.
Please support us with your contribution to Equity Bank account number 103-5201-607252 under the name Alternative Digital, or our mobile money numbers 0702 900076 or 0783 047785. Alternative Digital, real issues, real talk.
The Alternative Digital, real issues, real talk.
Kulikira nnyo mukumula mukoko tubaddemu tuli mu ssaawa yaffe ey'okubiri the voltage ye program gyoshalaba tuli mu lulimi luzungu era kanswikingewo obutereevu nzire mu lulimi oluzungu abalabe baffe munange ab'olulimi oluganda tusooka okwetonda naye nga lero tugenda kuba nga tukozesa olulimi oluzungu mutusonyiwemuko olunaku lwaleero but next time tugenda kuba nga tugenda kuba tukibalansinga olulimi luzungu. Robert Mayanja, the independent mind. We're going to be going till 9 p.m. In case you have any questions, you can go to our Facebook page, The Alternative Uganda. Type in your comments and type in your questions. I'm going to be reading them in the last minutes as we close our show today. Before we went in for the commercial break, Mr. Mornah was still saying something. He was still pointing out some few points on his matter. So I'm giving him just 2 minutes to conclude.
Maybe yes. Half a minute. The point I was establishing on the 26th, when Olanya was the guest of honor, he was lamenting about people asking other people's students to go on the street to protest. Since when did protest become unconstitutional? because protestation is part of the fundamental human rights that are enjoyed by citizens. And that citizens have a right to go on a peaceful protestation against any vulgar policy or a decision that they do not agree with. In doing so, if you allow the security agencies to go and become so brutish, and they decide to fire and kill innocent people, and you come and say that we who organize the people to go in protest of something we disagree, in elections we disagree that the elections were not free and fair, and where I say it, I can tell you that I am disappointed in the way these elections. I watched and saw that opposition elements were arrested. They were prevented from going to do campaigns. So if you are talking a free and fair election, the fact of arresting opposition leaders and disrupting their campaigns alone is a mark of a non-fair environment.
That was due to Corona.
Which one?
But
the ruling party.
Which election have we had without those?
No, but even the ruling party is allowed to do that. In our country, you see that when results are being counted, army officers walk into the collation center, they scatter everybody, and then what happened to the ballots, you don't know. And it happened here in Uganda as well. So when people protest the manner in which the elections were conducted, that some people were arrested, they have been detained at locations where we don't know. We want to come out and protest so that the world will know that some of our own, we cannot find them, they have been abducted, they should be released. Then you ask the trigger-happy military to go and fire and kill them.
Actually, he said that it's unfair for Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi to tell other people's children to go out on the roads and start striking when he's leaving his children at home.
Well, I don't know the age of his children, but why?
They're young.
If they are young, they don't even have a franchise. The right to vote, they don't have. And if they are found even on the streets as young people who are below the voting age, won't the same government say that you have used people that are not of age and that you are using what we call infants, which I know is against the electoral laws? You can't even use them to sing or make campaign messages for you in my country. Children cannot do that for you. So you see that we speak with different tongues. I think that the right to demonstrate is guaranteed in all our constitutions. Indeed, is guaranteed under fundamental human rights. The right of freedom, the right of procession, and whatever is guaranteed in our constitutions. So when I am out there non-violently protesting against a system that is bereft of ideas and is not capable of leading me to my promised land, then you go and take army officers. Because you don't know what you have bought the bullets for. You say they should come and shoot us. They come and kill our own. I am waiting for a day where these armies of ours, they will ask them to go and shoot, and they will only go there, and to their shock, they would have shot their own children. When you start shooting people who are against the system and they are your own children, then you will appreciate that whilst you are there and they can easily give a command for you to go and shoot, your children are not excited. Some of the army officers' children are walking on the streets. Some of them cannot find places to stay. And the government or an official who is well placed instruct you, go and deal with these people. We are not dogs. Even if we are dogs, we have a purpose for which we back.
That's where my other question comes in. In your perspective, what's democracy and where do we stand as Africa?
Well, I don't think that in most of our countries we are playing what I call charade of a democracy. Even in my own country where people want to praise that Ghana is doing well, I think that we are playing charade of a democracy. For instance, you say that Parliament has to vet ministers. They vet a minister who comes to lie. Our Minister for Information comes, he owns a microfinance institution. That microfinance is 83% shareholder. That company goes to take a loan, and you are 83% shareholder, and you don't know that your company is going to take a loan. It's unthinkable. It means that you are an irresponsible person. And if you are irresponsible in your personal organization, how can you be responsible when they hand a state organization to you? So you expect Parliament to say, no, we disapprove of you. You have a minister designate who goes to Parliament responsible for the fishery sector. She cannot even define what fish farming is. She doesn't know the 3 sectors within the fishing industry. And yet Parliament will go and approve it, that you go and be a minister. A minister of what? When you don't even understand, before you come to Parliament, you are given at least 1 month to study. If you are even without any knowledge, you should go and study a little bit about your industry. You don't know it. You have a minister responsible for defense who goes and instructs soldiers to go and beat other people on the basis that they live in the borderlines with Togo, Burkina Faso, and therefore they are not Ghanaians. And that minister comes to Parliament and you ask him and say, no, some other excited army officer instructed it. And you go and approve that person. You can't. So you see that we are performing as badly as we can. Because even Parliament goes and virtually pass anything. The only time you see our Parliament doing anything with consensus is when it comes to their emolument and conditions of service. Then they are united.
That is our Africanism.
They are united. But otherwise, you see that our Parliament is not as potent. And I have said, if you go to other jurisdictions, of course, they are not the examples that we should learn. But they are persons, somebody from, say, NRM, can get up and say that President Museveni is wrong. It happened in the United States of America, where we saw people from the Trump administration coming out openly and said that we will not back Trump because he is a disaster of a president for the United States of America. They went out publicly to campaign and mounted the platform of Joe Biden so that Joe Biden could become president to save America. And after that, they will now confront Joe Biden on the policy issues. How many of us can do that? We will not. So in studio, we can all say...
We just keep quiet and then keep our position.
Even I have met people from many political parties. When we go in studio, particularly when it is not a live television broadcast and it's a radio station, people in government, when I'm talking, you see that they'll be writing notes and giving to me, look, this one too, you should talk about it, because that is radio, nobody sees. As soon as you finish talking, then the same people come and say, no, that is not the case. They want to defend and give an impression that they are the darling boys of their political parties or darling girls of their political party. When you continue to pretend about your own conditions of service, one day you pretend that you have a house when there is no foundation.
Mr. Mayanja, when we look at democracy in East Africa, what should Africa as a whole learn from the Magufuli style of leadership?
You say East Africa. But East Africa, the story is different. It's not homogenized. What you see in Kenya is not what is in Tanzania, it's not what is in Rwanda, it's not what is in Uganda. But having heard from the Ghanaian experience, I want to make the statement that while Tanzania under Magufuli has something to talk about, it is not the most ideal case scenario that we should point at. Because while we will praise Magufuli for living a very humble life, of being mindful of the interest of the common man, and therefore designing a government that delivers to the common man, when he went to the human rights page, he scores miserably. Now, so for me, if you asked me as a member of the East Africa, I would think
but just a point. Why do you think that we have East Africa, West Africa, North Africa, South Africa? Is it not part of the attempt to continue to balkanize us and to drift us apart? We should be talking about Africa. Honestly, when they decided to go and meet in Berlin, did you see any African face there when they partitioned Africa? So we have a challenge, and I want us to look at it from an African perspective, not an East African perspective. I sat here, I eulogize Magufuli for the many things that he did. But I'm the first to also condemn some of the atrocious policies and things that he did. His clamp down on civil society organization, on media, and then what have you, was anti-democracy. And we cannot do that. If we say we are for democracy, let us respect dissent. And so I think that, Madam Host, let's look at it from a general African perspective and not regimentalizing.
I want to associate that school of thought Only that I beg first of all to accomplish the food on my plate.
Thank you.
Before I bargain for more. You see, we must accept as Africans that we have been robbed of some time to look at ourselves as Africans, to raise our African consciousness. That being the fact, if we want to get back into the African bloc, then we must first of all lay a foundation at these small units that form the bigger bloc. So if you want to attempt to answer the African question minus looking at this small segmentation, I think you are going to miss a very big picture. The African people are divided, and the drive to unite them must start at a small note, go gradually graduating to a bigger continental.
I am sorry, but we have gone through this gradualist approach from the time Julius Nyerere and co opposed Nkrumah's immediacy to the continental unification. And for over 54 years, we are still in the gradualist approach.
But you see, my look at this thing.
We ended up compromising on an African Union government and formed the Organization of African Unity, which was a compromise away from what Kwame Nkrumah wanted us to achieve.
Yes.
Because of the gradualist approach. We ended up transforming it to an organization, African Union. The only thing we took away was the O. Now, what we have done successfully is that we have now decided to have the East African Economic Community. We have decided to have the West African Economic Community, which we call the ECOWAS. We have the Southern Africa Development Community. And these things, to the best of my knowledge, none of these communities' constitution will point out that in year one, we are doing this that is tending to the unification of Africa. So they have become spent forces and useless caricatures that are a drain on our African continent's resources.
I entirely agree, but I don't know. I think the point I wanted to make is, what is this ultimate aspiration of the African continent? I want to think that that dream is an African at home who is catered for by his own state, by his own land, by his own who attains life. I want to summarize it in life. That is the aspiration. Now, when you go into trying to implement that, for me, I think you need to first of all scale it down. Yes, I have my reservations about the East African community, the ECOWAS, and what have you. But I want to dwell mostly on the most pertinent issue, the issue of life. For me, I wouldn't mind whether Museveni or Kagame or Magufuli went and formed a very good government called the Government of African Union, as long as the basics that I'm entitled to as a human being are not there. I'm not going to subscribe to that hegemony. You get me? So for me, my struggle is, first of all, do I have life where I am? I don't mind whether it is East African community, whether it is Uganda, whether it is a very small tribe. But what I'm entitled to, I must have it. For me, that is my struggle. Now, once I have those basics, those bare minimums, I will have the charisma and courage to stride towards those global, those continental aspirations. You cannot take an angry man to war. In Uganda, the question is simple basics like food, a meal a day. And some of us who are trying to agitate for certain things here in Uganda, that's the challenge we find. You know, you tell people about the African Union, but the people you're talking to don't know whether they'll have supper at night. The people you're talking to don't know whether from here they'll walk back home. My brother is going to say, all is well, you see. He's going to sing hallelujah, but he knows the reality. He knows the reality. He has experienced the reality. He has lived the lie. In fact, the previous show we are here, he apologized for propagating a lie, but later went and tested it, and he found it to be a very big lie. And I am happy that he apologized on what? So there is nothing much. What you see, what we would learn from from Magufuli, I'm afraid it can only be tagged on individual character. Magufuli was a one-off. But the system in Tanzania, I think it is designed to be anti-Magufuli. It is the same story here. Our constitution is okay. Our laws are very well. But the president and his establishment has a lot of issues. And as a people here, I don't think we can raise up to dismantle that establishment and the president. So for me, that's why I say we need to learn from other experiences. I don't want to learn from better. I want to learn from the best. You get me? Because the story about Tanzania has only started. It has only been talked about under Magufuli. What about Kikwete? What about others? There was nothing to talk about. It was the routine business, loot and plunder and persecution, right? So this Magufuli was just a blessing. I was making a joke on one of the stations that we may take another 100 years before another Magufuli blesses this continent. So maybe we need to go and talk to the mother of Magufuli and tell us how he brought up his son, how he to live humble amidst big stuff, so that maybe our children can be the next Magufulis. But to learn from Tanzania, it is still premature because it's only Magufuli. It's only Magufuli. What will happen after Magufuli? We don't know. What will happen in the next 20 years after? 20 years when the entire Magufuli legacy has been buried, shall we be referring to Tanzania as a reference anymore? So for me, I'm not excited about what he has done. I am only thankful to the Lord that he came, he did what he had to do. It was slightly better than his predecessors, but it is not something that I should borrow from. I have standards that I have set. I want a president who listens. I don't want a president simply because he's going to give me a load, a first-class road, that is going to take a lot from me only to give me a road. I don't want a president who's going to mortgage me before the Tanzanians, before Chinese and Asians and whatever, like my brother said, simply to give me a load. So for me, those are the standards. For lessons, as people of East Africa, we need to look elsewhere. It's not Tanzania. It's not Rwanda. It's not Kenya. You can't even talk about Uganda. Thank you.
Mr. Kyaguba, this question goes to you. What's in the Magufulification for us as Ugandans?
That question was posed last week with when Pierre Olumumba was here, and for the answer for him, he said this country. Actually, he referred to Museveni, that Museveni is, what he wants is to unite East Africa. So he used that word, that if he does so, East Africa will be united, and we use a common language, a similar language, I think, that he proposed Swahili. But the whole of this country, the whole of the world, actually the whole world is not fair. I would say this, the whole world is not fair, and so if we so say that we look at times where they beat people because of politics, because of opposing some people, I think that one happens in each and every country. That's why they derive the word.
It doesn't happen in Britain.
That's why they derived the word.
It is wrong.
The lady who stepped down in Britain, she had a cause. That's where David Cameron came in, I think.
Yes.
She had a cause. So she saw that.
That's the reason. That is where this young man came in.
The one who is there now. Yeah, and Boris, yes. She saw that even Britain is not fair to her own people. That's the reason as to why I'm leaving, paving a way for someone who wants to take up.
The thing to do once people disagree with you, you don't get guns and whip.
I know. I'm still getting my point? When I say the whole world is not fair, me, I will only agree with my brother here, where he said a minister should be given the position, that ministerial position, when that minister really knows what he's going to do. If it's ICT, the Minister of ICT must be knowing what we call ICT, because we have many people who learned ICT here and they can exercise, they can do it perfectly. We have people who studied agriculture and they can do agriculture perfectly. We have people, actually in each and every sector. Only what we have a problem is we have commissions. We have Judicial Service Commission, we have Education Service Commission, we have different commissions where if we are looking at changing the curriculum, we go to Education Service Commission. If we look at changing the judiciary, we go to Judicial Service Commission. But if we want to change, the leadership, we run to people of which people that we're running to doesn't know what to do.
So you want us to make a presidential commission?
Now, we are moving in the cocoons of Europeans, whereby if we're looking at right now, I don't know the syllabus, we're still saying Canadian prairies as we learned before, because we have English. Right now we are struggling with our English that we started in our primary. We don't know what happened, where they brought the word English. Actually, me, I cannot even interpret the word English. What does it mean? You get? But we used to do, you put on a back cloth because you've spoken vernacular, your Luganda,
your local language,
yes,
vernacular.
They say you put in this back cloth here because you've spoken Luganda. When the English that you're trying to speak in that school is not the language that we would have really spoken in our country.
It's not your mother language.
It's not. Therefore, me, I would say Magufuli has done good. However, what I'm seeing right now in Tanzania, I'm seeing things are changing. Because yesterday, the High Excellence just someone...
The president.
Yes. Just someone that I think of embezzlement or... But
mismanaging. Mismanaging.
That is the legal
but Magufuli was a friend to this gentleman that he fired yesterday. Was a close friend, and we were doing things together. I think Madam Hassan had that thing in her, that the moment they give her something, you know, in Uganda, actually it's a proverb in English. When for us,
can I help you?
The fear.
Assuming that Kadaka becomes president today.
Yes.
You think that Olanya will continue to be in office?
And there are many people who are not good. And may I think if Kadaga becomes as a speaker today, now there are many ministers that are not going to be passed in parliament. Very many.
But now, Mr. Katongole, you talked about the president of Tanzania. When she fired someone for mismanaging 4 billion Tanzanian is it shillings?
Yeah.
Shillings, yes.
Shillings.
Yes. Do you think she will fit in the late Magufuli's shoes as far as fighting corruption is concerned?
As I said last time, this country, actually the whole world, if you want to go to Canada, if you want to go to Europe, just go to their embassy here at go to British High Commission. You will see how corruption is everywhere. Yes. If you want to go to Britain, go to British High Commission. You will see how if you want to pass here, you do like this so that you can be able to go to get a visa.
Actually, to go straight.
So now, our Hassan here, Her Excellence, found a problem, and she started on a big hoard, a big person who is known to everyone, and you know, there are positions where if you want to use corruption can save you to do something. For example, they have taken you to court today. Instead of leaving, a lot take its course. For me, because you're my sister, I will say, how can I get out my sister so quickly? Because if I said the law should take its course, you will take years in prison because the law is taking its course, because the law is slower than me who wants my sister to come back home. Me, I will act so fast because my guest is there, the chief judge, the judge is there. I will act so fast to bring out my sister so quickly. The same applies to Hassan. Now Hassan is getting a problem. She has touched a big person. Now, the family to that gentleman that she sacked, they are also finding a way of firing back to her. In my view, Hassan would do better if she has taken some time learning. She has been in the government. I think she has been the vice president, but she has not really learned what
since 2015. She
has not really learned what the big boss, the big man was doing, because the big man was so courageous. He should stand and he can stand somewhere and say, but who has done this? Gets the whole story. Then he calls that person, please come. But not going to just on the way say, please, do you know what? That person,
you're
fired. Then how are you going to bring back the would be thing that maybe you are choosing this person that has stolen? Because first bring the person back to you. Tell the person, you've taken this and this and this. How can I get them back to the government? Then after getting all, you tell the person, do you know what? Now you can be able to quit the position. Because we have an idea that if someone has embezzled money, has taken government money, you tell the person to bring all what he has taken. Go to his property, confiscate all the property that he has taken, that he has accumulated within that money that he has stolen from the government, because that's taxpayers' money. Then you say, now you are free to go. Then you find that person is going to be to live like me, who doesn't have anything in the society. So,
Mr. Katongole, are you condemning corruption?
Exactly. I condemn corruption. I say corruption is bad. Corruption is bad. And whoever that person who is corrupt, whoever is corrupt must be taken to the law should take its course.
Our studio line is 0789017145. 0789017145. That's our studio line. Let me give Mr. Mayanja just 2 minutes to comment on what Mr. Katongole has been talking about.
I wanted Robert not to confuse us. Simply because you are used of your father beating your mother doesn't mean that it's a normal thing. Just because here the big brother to the president can go away with money, and the president looks the other side, and when he is asked when you are in your fora at Chankwanzi, he says, in the matter of national security, it doesn't mean that it's right. One, I want to believe that Her Excellency in Tanzania had an off-scene conversation with this gentleman. Ladies do not act like men. She couldn't just jump out of her car and say, hey, you look here, you embezzled money out of my face. No. There must have been some diplomatic
peaceful talks,
exit out of this dilemma. But this lady needed to start from a positive note in order to earn public confidence. So she's going to go because now the public is galvanized on her side. She's now being seen as a champion of the crusade against corruption. So she's going to go a long way if she insists along that path. You see, we are getting a problem in Uganda that we are used of bad things now, they appear normal. You know, you go and embezzle, you come the other side, you build a very big mall and we call you a celebrity, and life goes on. When you come to church, you give the biggest donations and we clap. We give you all the blessings, you go home with with no blessings at all. But that doesn't mean that it's right. So for me, I think the lady is really putting her feet on the ground. But the most important thing you must look at as a head of state, you must have the public on your side. And that act has really is bringing her closer. In fact, I think if she continues like that, people won't miss Magufuli. They won't. If she continues along that lane, people won't miss Magufuli. But if she's going to be this timid woman who's scared because someone was a friend to the late king or
to the late president. Mr. Bernard, is democracy in Africa evolving according to you, in your perspective?
On the other hand, I think it's declining. Because
we have a caller here. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? A very good evening to you, mister. Your name?
Very good evening. My name is Bernard. And yes, we have a question for this gentleman from Ghana. He seems to have some good knowledge about Africa as a whole. My question is, in his perspective, is democracy in Africa evolving? And if not, what will it take to get there? Because as we look at things, we're talking about the taxation of Magufuli and what he's doing and what he's not doing. I think the biggest section is that the thing that
we can't hear you properly, but I think he's talking about the democracy, the evolving of democracy.
I think that precisely that was the question you asked. My candid view is that democracy is on the decline instead of being on the ascendancy. Because even in the countries where we have agreed, we are doing term limits and what have you, you can see that we are just toying with the rules. A democracy where you pass a law like procurement law, everybody can bid for government jobs. But we know how it is done. I want Katongole to go and do this contract. So I tell you, the contract documents are available. Go and bring 4 other companies. So you have one company that you are going to use. The other 3 companies will not have the valid document. So ab initio, when the contract assessment is being done, those other 3 companies are given away. You win the contract. So when we want to steal from ourselves, democracy is not growing. And that is why you can see that, look, you have civil engineers. And if you go to most of the government institutions, you rather see that instead of contractors that are supposed to do work, it is those same officers within the same ministries and departments who form their own companies and get people to go and bid for the same contract so that other people cannot come and eat from it. So democracy is not growing when we decide that we have to monopolize the spoils of our nation. The other factor that you have to look at is, how are we going to talk about democracy? The issue of one man, one vote, or one woman, one vote, must be accompanied by the issue of one person, one plate of matoki. It must be accompanied by one vote, one bread. If I go and vote and I go back home and I have nothing to eat, democracy is not sustainable. So in every democracy, for democracy to progress, the people must have something to live on. They must have something they can earn income. They must have a place to stay. And I keep saying, those of you who have done economics, that it's for no reason that we have a basic economic function. We call it consumption function, where they say C is equals to consumption, C is equals to A plus BY, where A is seen as autonomous consumption, whether you earn income or not. By the B is dependent on your income. So in our societies, our government must know that there are people who do not earn any income. And if you don't earn any income, but you must live. You don't work, but you must live. How do you live? You must feed, you must clothe, you must wash down, you must have health care, you must have shelter. All those things then become the responsibility of the government. Do we do that here? We don't. And you think that democracy is growing? In other jurisdictions, okay, in my country, my government is so sensitive to the plight of the people that in this pandemic, when people have lost their jobs, people have been asked to go home and rest. They don't have any source of income. The government has come to impose COVID-19 tax. Companies are declining. You have come, instead of giving stimulus and money to people to go and spend, they have imposed COVID-19 tax.
What is it all about?
so that they can get money.
They recover.
They recover the money that they've spent.
Yes, that is what they are doing. Now, when you go to other countries, they are spending money,
In Kenya at least.
giving people, go to the United States, go to Kenya, they are giving their citizens money so they can come out of their low levels. In your country, in my country, whether it's even a country as I keep insisting, our government decides that the best option is to impose taxes so that we pay COVID-19 tax. But you sit here in Uganda and say that Ghana is doing well. I tell you that there are policy options that I propose, and I'm sure that sitting here, you are baffled at the fact that there is a COVID-19 tax. Can your studio technical people just check COVID-19 tax, and they will tell you that in Ghana, we are taxing ourselves COVID-19.
Before we conclude, what are some of the things Ghana can copy from Uganda?
Well, I think that I am a farmer, as I told you. I am hoping that they will permit me to pick a few seedlings of the many crops that I've seen. I've seen that you have a new variety of avocado that fruits very well and this. So there is something that we can learn. Particularly my mentor in agriculture is married to a Ugandan lady. And so I go to their farm and I see that there is a lot of, I can call trans crops, crops from Uganda that are doing well in Ghana. And I think that, look, I can also appreciate that the Ugandan community, it appears that you are producing a lot of food and a lot of maize, so much that the Kenyan market is feeling threatened by your maize supply that they have to put even a ban on you. And I find it very, very unfortunate. We are doing the same in Ghana. The Ghana Union Traders Association get up and they are fighting Africans who are operating in the retail industry. How can an African operating just to find something to also survive in our various countries become an enemy? We allow Asians in our country, they are not enemies. We allow Australians, Americans, they are not our enemies, but our own. So Kenyans now see Ugandans that you share border with as enemies, and Kenyans cannot export maize into Uganda cannot export maize
to Kenyans.
What are we talking about? And you sit here and talk about East Africa community. That is useless.
So the East African community is not working.
It is absolutely not working, because if Kenya, which is seen as the major economic market in East Africa, is banning products from Uganda from entering.
Mr. Bernard, your closing remarks.
Well, I just want to appreciate you and your team for inviting me to your studio. I'm sure that my host is not excited about it because he thinks that it's nice. And he thinks that my views are not acceptable, particularly to the ruling party. I really don't care. I speak my mind. And so I'm excited to have contributed to your show. I hope I've made some points to the people of Uganda. And I'll be looking forward to inviting you, especially my brother in government, that
Mr. Katongole.
Tone down. It is not everything that in government we do that is acceptable, that we should defend. I have said this to many of our young people. We, in fact, I'm no more a youth because I'm about 40. But the young people, we have a future. That future cannot be at the mercy of those who are privileged to be in office. Indeed, Kaguta was at the age of 40 was president. Patrice Lumumba was president at 35. Kwame Nkrumah was president at 40. Many of them, and the lofty things that they did at the incipient stage of their leadership, cannot be compared with what they are doing at their old age. What it means is that you are also capable of leading. Their continuous stay in office is a disadvantage for our progress. Because, hey, we grew up, even me, I was growing up, I didn't know what, to get a telephone, you had to run to the post office to go and make a call. Not long ago, we used to go to what we call telephone booths to go and receive and make calls with cards. We used to move into what we call internet cafes to go and queue to be able to access our emails. We used to buy big computers and put in our offices. Today, this phone of yours is more than a computer and it's more than your office.
It does everything.
So everything is done here. How many of our leaders of authoritarian age are capable of using their own phone? that will tell you that we are not progressing with such leadership in place. So I am looking forward to a youthful leadership in the African continent. And I believe that when that happens, there will be uhuru in Africa.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bernard. Let me go straight to Mr. Robert Katongole to give his closing remarks before we conclude.
Thank you, the Princess. Thank you, Mr. Bernard, for coming to our country, and all, even the team that has invited us here. Our country, we need to progress. Our youth of this country, you need to know the value of your life, the value of your status, the value of your growth and development. The moment you learn to understand the value of your life and the value of your growth and development, then you reach at the maturity stage when you know what you need to be. It's high time right now to identify yourself, know what you really want to be in the future, know what you really want to be in life, so that you can be able to support yourself, so that you can be able to support this country's development, leave alone the growth. I'm looking at the scenarios whereby the government is looking at giving out to support our fellow people, support our fellow youth, and to support our fellow our women and elderly in this country, but we are not seeing it happen because of the wrong people that are in service. One, because of we can look at the poor service delivery that is being given to our people around, not because of the president. The president has done a lot to make sure that this country is shaped and is developed, but these people down here are making our president to lose and fall. So you people, like the ministers who are given duties to operate, who are given duties to help the president, who are given duties to help the people of this country to develop through the NADS program, Operational Circulation Program, Emyoga Fund, and you're not delivering. We are coming to you because Honorable Haruna Kasoro is not working from America. Honorable Amongin of Kampala is not working from Juba, Sudan. You are all within, and other people, if you tell us that you're not signing the certificates of the people because you are still demanding your money, you people of KCCA, if you're telling us that you're not signing certificates of people who have done their circles, please, we are coming for you. This money is there to support our people who were beaten seriously with the COVID-19 pandemic, and you're not working on that. So we have given you an ultimatum of 1 week so that you can be able to give these people their funds on their account so that they can start the progress. You people who are working on the roads and you're not finalizing these roads in time, we are not sparing you people. We are also coming to you.
Mr. Katongole.
So make sure that you finalize all the work that you are given in time so that we don't use the government money badly. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching us. May God bless you for God and my country.
Mr. Robert Mayanja, your closing remarks.
Well, mine is going to be a very quick one. I want to thank the Honorable Ibrahim Semuju for giving this country direction. Azolanyan Kadaga busy wrestling, and the NRM looks to be confused. They don't know what to do next. Because one Kadaga has the numbers, but Olanya has the royalty of the establishment. So there is a deadlock. This country needs to look elsewhere past the NRM confusion. I salute you, Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda. And if there is any kind of a patriotic member of parliament who appreciates the crisis caused by the speaker contesting against his deputy, and all of them are coming from one party, their chairman comes in to intervene with an option, and the other one defiantly rejects the offer. So it is obvious that if Uganda needs to progress, the solution is none other than the Honorable Semujungana. He has all the qualifications that we would want in a nationalistic speaker of our parliament. I can't go without helping my brother to understand the type of democracy we have here. It is called participated democracy, which is where minority popularize notorious ideas to the unsuspecting majority. That is our democracy. It is your food for thought.
Thank you very much. That has been Mr. Robert Mayanja for you. To every one of you who has been watching, thank you very much. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Senabulia Abbas. Thank you so much for watching. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Noma Tomohimbi Idi. Thank you so much for watching, and also to Mr. Chagamidwa, thank you so much for watching. Thank you every one of you who has been with us ever since we started from 7 until now that we're going to close the show. To the entire team of The Voltage, I'd like to thank you. Thank you, Nabukera Tenjo, our producer today, Mr. Noah Mukose Arnold Anthony on camera, as well as Mr. Jeremiah Muchibi. Thank you very much. Mr. Rogers Rehawe, our director today, thank you. Thank you very much. We meet next time. Have yourself a good night.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.